Episode 60. We have the pleasure of hosting. Fuck. God damn it.
Get the Philly out of there.
Yo, second roll. Oh, didn't see you there. Episode 60. It took us almost a year to get this man into our podcast. Did you know that?
Damn, that's a long ass time. He's a busy man.
He is a busy man. Nicky The Barba. Right? So this man owns, how many barbershops did he say he owned? 11 barbershops?
Might have been 11.
There was like 28, 30 employees. He's got a charity, right?
Yeah, it has an academy.
Academy teaching young barbers or all barbers of all ages, right? He almost solved this Rubik's Cube.
That was insane.
With literally just looking at it.
Mm-hmm. I can't even do that. I don't know what that is.
Dude, it was a good podcast, dude. Episode 60 brought the smoke.
Yeah, touched on a lot of good things. A lot of, go-getters, people that have a sense of urgency, people that care. You could just, hear the passion. You know, he's very passionate about what he does.
Yeah, and it's not just, cutting. It's, the trade of barbering.
Yeah.
That man is, preserving it the way it used to be. He's got a collection of, I don't even remember how many chairs he said, but he literally just drives around and collects old barber chairs so that they don't go out of style. He just keeps them because he's planning on growing his business that big that he's going to need them in the future. And I love when people talk like that, but also live like that. So Nicky The Barba, episode 60. Get it. No Prisoners podcast.
What's going
afterfive.media Studios, episode 2 in the studio. This is episode 60. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So that's it. It's a legit tattoo. I wish I had a nickname like Nicky The Barba.
Yeah, well, it's when your tattoo artist gives it to you, you can't, it doesn't get any more natural than that, right?
He did a tattoo for his brother too.
Yeah,
oh, Scott did.
Yeah, Scott did a tattoo for my brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, over Christmas he fit him in.
And then Andrew's actually thinking about getting the Bitcoin tattoo on his ankle. So
yeah, my fellow Bitcoin brother, Colin.
Yeah.
Yerkinson.
You ever play with Bitcoin? Do you ever do that?
No, I don't even know much about it.
That's John's thing now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin and base.
Somebody just told. Well, yeah. Well, it keeps going up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Who knows?
We'll see what happens, but
we appreciate you coming on.
I'm glad to be here.
We've been trying this for a while. I think all the way.
Yeah,
it's almost been a full year.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, I think it was.
Yeah, whenever they put out those black squares. But I remember I came in. You were one of the few barbershops to be open, and I went in there and saw you in there. I was like, hey man, maybe come on the podcast. Called
Did you
Andrew.
come in during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your assistant or one of the younger guys cut my hair there. You were messing around in the back. It was only you and him and I think a girl dyeing hair back in there.
Yeah, a very wealthy client of mine, as the pandemic hit, we closed down for quite some time, and he told me that no matter what, you never let the money flow stop. Even if it trickles, a trickle's better than it stopping.
Right.
And there was only a few of us at the shop at an undisclosed location cutting hair, and we had to keep the trickle going because there was very difficult to keep the overhead and everything else, going. So
you have a lot of different operations and locations and things that you had to think
Dude,
about.
this guy during the pandemic, Nicky would drive around in his barber van and hand out checks to people because you were still paying the guys during the whole thing.
Yeah. So yep. We were paying the guys, and then we came off strong during the pandemic, and did a major strikeout at one point in time. So we can talk about that later.
Nah.
Well,
we can't.
Well,
that's kind of up to you.
Mute that part out. Well, hey, you know what? It's it's part of the past, but it's a learning curve. So right, coming into the pandemic, we were doing the pizzas and we were giving out gift cards and we were handing out. The barbers were owed paychecks, from previous work, and then because of some of our growing pains in the past, when barbers came on board, their tips were backdated as they would get on the payroll. So like if you started and you're cutting hair and only making a couple bucks a week, we didn't put you on payroll. It wasn't feasible for them, right, to be on the books immediately. So we would pay them cash, give them a check, 1099, but they would get their cash tips for the week. So when we put them on the paycheck, it would stop because they would have to catch up to the other barbers. So we had 25 grand, 30 grand owed to the barbers in tips. It was always just this cycle of money, right? And it was okay. Right. They always knew it. Everyone knew what they were owed because it was backlogged. But it was for our CFO, it was always a pain in the butt going back 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks for certain barbers. So we said, you know what? We're going to pay them. So we continued to pay them their back tips during COVID. And it was, one guy or one girl could be a couple bucks or $200, $500, whatever it was. But it was a trickle effect of them being able to receive some monies that were due to them anyway. So there was a lot of good things that came out of that. But then, again, we were out with the bus and handing out checks and trying to keep the vibe going. Just
you had a strong ass vibe coming into the pandemic. Like,
yeah,
you guys were opening up places, but it wasn't like you were opening up places slowly. It was like you were opening up only when they were ready. You'd put full into it. You'd hold the opening, and then boom, you'd open it. You'd have like 5 busy barbers cutting hair right away. Like,
yep. Mm-hmm.
So if any of the listeners don't really know like who Nicky The Barba is, that's his Instagram handle.
Nicky The Barba.
But you have how many locations now?
We have 7 brick and mortars. We have the bus, and today we just bought a barber shop in Panama, Florida, or Pompeii, Florida. It's like 30 minutes north of Boca Raton. So we've been eyeballing this up, and we made the verbal agreement on the phone today via FaceTime, which is a beautiful thing when you can FaceTime people. So we are going down in March to solidify that deal, and then we are in works of Harleysville and now Chalfont, right out in front of Target World in Chalfont. They have a location that we've been talking to, so it'll be 11 shops and a mobile barbershop bus.
Yeah, Doug's Barbershop's going out of business.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. It's a different clientele.
Doug Trombino.
Not Doug. Not the other place in Chalfont. No, the other place in Chalfont. No, not your.
Holy shit.
No, I was talking about Doug's in Chalfont.
I was like literally like, oh, we're gonna go down that road.
Yeah, they're down the street. Respectfully, a good distance away. Yeah. So
that's good though.
Yeah, we're not there to put anybody out of business.
Different clientele. But you have also an academy, right? Like, explain like how that works.
So, I guess just a quick little history of the barbershops, right? We opened up in 2008, and we started off in a small two-chair shop, and we had a few clients see something that we didn't see, something special, and they were mature in their business and saw an opportunity to duplicate or replicate this barbershop. They traveled from a distance, and they had recommended a business coach. So just kept doing what we were doing and wanted to grow this business off of passion and energy at 24 years old. Like, we're just going to love everyone and love hair, and that's how we're going to grow. And with the business coach being recommended, I had no idea, what that was and what it looked like. So we ventured off with a consultation or whatever, and little did I know, my uncle was a business coach. So for years, I would go to family events, and he would ask me all these questions, and where are you going? How are you going to get there? And he never had an answer, never rebutted me, just listened. And then one day I was telling him about this business coach, and he said, that's really what I do for a living. So we had conversation. And my uncle, we didn't want to dilute family, right? Family was important. We didn't want to cross those lines with business and personal. And
he was the other chair in the first shop. Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Your uncle or
No, I was telling him about, I was recommended a business coach. So he said, listen, why don't I put we had a deep conversation. He put a proposal together, and it was $1,500 a month. And that was a lot for me then. So I ended up he gave me books to read and assignments and my mission statement, like an audit of my business. And I wasn't doing things at times. And I was meeting with him, and he said, look, kid, I'm getting paid either way. So you're either going to show up to these meetings and you're going to show up with your mental, mind in the game, and you're going to do the work that I'm giving you because it's for your benefit. And until that moment, I was didn't realize what I was doing. I wasn't investing myself, right? Why did it benefit me to do the work that he was asking me to do or assigning me to do? So got serious because I'm I'm paying this guy. He got paid no matter what. If I didn't show up to a meeting because I wanted to sleep in or was being lazy, whatever it may be, or too busy, he got paid. So that's when things started getting serious, where we got the business coach and implemented these systems and processes. We started to realize, what was our asset. I thought it was my barber, but he explained or asked me certain questions that led me to believe that my customer is my number one priority, right? So our organization functions off of customer, team, and organization. The customer's first, the team's second, and the organization is last.
Did you set up the school because in order to fuel your organization, you felt the need to start from the beginning with every individual that you hired, and you felt that in order to go through and train them all, you might as well perfect that process in order to make your business as streamlined as possible?
So to go back to John's question, where I got off the track, we did the apprentice program where it was you taught a student once a month or once a week on a Monday.
Okay.
The apprentice program was 15, 18, 20 months. It was free. You don't charge people in the state of Pennsylvania to teach them the apprentice program. So we would teach people and they would leave. Thanks for my hours, written off to the state, and they would literally roll.
Oh, shit.
Whammo.
Never see him again.
I'll
no return.
Out, and it was wow, literally. So the school was the evolution of what we had. We had to open up the school. So we planned for a school in our timeline with our coach. In 2008, we planned for our school to happen in 2018. We were off by a year or two, whatever, right? But we had a timeline of how many barbershops we needed, how many barbers we needed to be able to get to this barbershop
From
school.
Day one, you had that overarching strategy. That probably changed, but
the dynamic, the tracks, the footprint to get there changed because there was things that were unexpected. Employees left. We had to shut down and relocate a location or two. So, but we knew where we were going, and we were going to do what it took to get there.
Yeah, so. I think that's important to highlight, that you had some sort of roadmap or plan, and Absolutely. You had a destination or a goal that you were striving towards all the time. People do that with us all the time, or at least to my face or to me. They don't think that there's any sort of plan. They think that we're just running in 8 million directions all at once, and I'm no, we have a strategy here. And I think people start out too soon, at least in the construction business. A lot of the guys that start out and they're well, I'm going out on my own. They really just think they want the freedom of being able to be on their own. There's no strategy or implementation of where you need to go to be successful. It's I'm just gonna be construction.
Yeah.
Is your business like that with barbers, where people don't really plan as well, or there's not that education?
Yes,
level.
There's the
maybe that's not the
in the barber industry. Ideally or typically, you have predominantly men. Modern male has grown in our demographics and who's employed by us and whatever, but there's a pride, and you get that guy that's I'm only getting XYZ% or paid XYZ. Well, I can do that. I can open up a barber shop. I can physically open in the morning and close it down at night. But what they don't realize is that 100% now is your responsibility. The accounting, and I paid well over 6 figures in mistakes in the first 5 to 6 years of my business, where, you know, it was like expensive, very expensive, like aha moments of like, I'm not going to do that again, but I already paid for it. You know, like there's a lot of things that now I know that I would avoid, and even now know that when I was 24, when I opened up my first shop, I would have done differently, you know. But yeah, we get that a lot. You know, guys leave, want to do their own thing, but then they very quickly realize a year or two later, wow, you know, this is a lot, and they either shut down or go work for somebody else.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
For sure. I don't think people realize how much work it is to start your own business. Like you end up working harder probably for your own business than you would if you worked for somebody else, right? Because you have a baby, you have to grow it, and like as you know, like even 10, 12 years into business, like a pandemic hits, you're like I don't know, like, you know, can we sustain what we got? But thank God you made it through, because I think you just opened up a place in Doylestown. But back to the academy, I had a question, like if someone goes through your school, right? Like how long is that program?
The Barber program is 10.5 months. It's, by law, state board of barbering, it's 1,250 hours. And in that 1,250, there's a certain amount of hours dedicated to haircuts, straight razor shaves, perms, you know, color relaxer or color, application, chemical, the Infectious Control. Chapter 4 in our book is the most important. You know, like during that pandemic, I had meetings with Levine, Governor Wolf's, sidekick, face to face on Zoom with a bunch of other barbers and school owners in the country or in Pennsylvania. And that's Infectious Control is the #1 chapter for us.
Right.
It's the first thing that you learn,
Right.
like, blood spills, and, there's a lot that you have to do to protect your patron. You know, if you're seeing 10, 15 patrons a day, you're putting a cloth on them, your cut cape on them. You have to use the Sanex. You have to disinfect and sanitize things. And they're telling us that we're not safe at that particular time and moment. Like, it's one of the safest places to be in is a barbershop or a salon.
Yeah, that's just a case where big government or like just someone making the rules doesn't understand that particular micro of an industry, right? They didn't understand all that, but they make big sweeping decisions for everybody, and it literally affects every business different, and it's the inefficiencies of like how the government does things.
Yeah, I mean, look, getting into Big Brother government, I think that unfortunately this country hasn't seen something like this in a very long time, and I preach not being a victim. I preach that to my family, I preach that to my staff. And at one point, I allowed myself to be a victim, right? The government shut us down. Okay, am I upset about it, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen in life that upset us. But how do we deal with that? Are we going to grow from it? Are we going to work through it and not be a victim? And woe is me, I did some things that weren't the best with our social media. I abused a bit of our platform, in my personal opinion, when it came to some of the, political people.
Incendiary statements and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I blasted Governor Wolf, and I had a few people call me out respectively, like, "Yo, dude, you're playing with fire, and this is a platform that you shouldn't be on. Like, you wanna say things, go to your go scream into a pillow." So
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm just adjusting my mic if anybody hears it. I'm not farting.
Kind of sounds
I'm definitely not farting.
Was it your own, like, called out, like, people like you trusted, or was it, like, employees, or?
Yeah, it was, well, actually, my uncle Len, who is my business coach, More Power Marketing. I'll give him a shout out, because it was, we are where we are today because of a big part of him and his coaching. He called me up, personally, and said, I'm telling, like, as your uncle and as your business coach, I'm telling you right now, you should back off. And I told him to go bleep himself. So then it was just I just kept digging this like deeper hole, and people were really turned off by it because modern male barber shops provide a safe place for people. All characters welcome is a big motto of ours. We don't care who you are or what you are. This is a place for, fathers and sons and moms to bring their children and be safe and not have to worry about the political and all the garbage that's going on. It's to come and be still and be quiet and experience the barbershop, experience the camaraderie of people, and not hear. You hear things in the barbershop. We're not going to dismiss certain conversation, but it's know your audience, know your room, be respectful when need to be. But on the social media platform, I was sending out a wrong message. The message that I was sending out was not what modern male is, So that's where people who I respect were challenging me, and I was not. I didn't hear it.
How long did it take you to like realize what you had done was a mistake?
Whatever, June 27th. Whatever that black, the black box thing was.
Was that was the end of it? That was like the pinnacle of it?
So.
Or was that the start of it?
No, that was where I know I probably should have kind of.
That's where you went too far.
Checked myself in somewhere for a couple days because of, for me, what I know, what I did now with this pandemic, I was going in bullheaded, and we were conquering this, and I was coming out a better man, like for myself, not my business. The pizza, the gift cards, that's helping other people, but I was doing that because I had to stay busy, and I got turned upside down. I've never watched the news in my life. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to social media. And I went into a dark place because I took my mind off of, I wasn't going to church. I wasn't reading my Bible. I became fixated on the world and things that I've never allowed in my life before. And when I started to fixate on these different things and the negativity, and people are burning houses down and businesses down, and I'm like, I got 12, 13 years invested into this thing. And then I'm hearing about people coming to the Lansdale area, and they're just not going to stop at carrying on what was going on. I was like, this ain't happening here. And I was in a very bad place of just, not disciplined anymore. I took my that goal that I had. I got goals for 2030 right now. I'm opening up a jazz club in Philadelphia one day. I want to have certain things for myself, and that has nothing to do with barbering, right? We have a property. We have a LLC being formed for owning property. We have an LLC being formed for property management. Like, it has nothing to do with barbering. It's just the elevation or evolution of what we're doing. So I took my eyes off of the prize, and was like, this ain't happening. So that's when it just went sour. It was negative. Nothing was, you're talking about being stripped of, what you built for however many years, So it was not the funnest time.
But I think a lot of people can relate to that sentiment though. Yeah. I definitely didn't go as hard as you did, but I said some things, and I had a couple people reach out to me, and some of them I brushed off. The one dude, I called him, and I was like, look, let me understand your point of view. You have 3 kids. You work for a company that's laid you off. How are you going to pay for things, man? Like, what's your plan? Like, you're calling me out for being aggressive, saying, like, we're not going to stop working. We're not going to, like, give up. We're not going to, like, just let it roll over us. And you're calling me out for that? Like, I'm calling you out for not doing anything. And we had words out, and, like, we haven't talked since then. But I know, like, when he looks at me, inarguably, and this isn't arrogance or anything other than just facts, like, my life is in a better place than his ever will be. And, like, even if he's listening to this, I'll say it to his face. Like, your mentality of just, like, letting the situation just be like, oh, this is the situation, man. Like, I was looked at as like being an asshole for like not being a bitch about the situation, in my opinion. And I was like so put off by that. I'm like, like I don't have kids. Like I was like, you have kids. Like you should relate to this idea that like you're not gonna let somebody threaten you or somebody dictate your environment in this way. And like that was when like that's when like the kind of turning point for me in the year was where I was like, dude, I kind of feel like there's like this separation in people aside from like politics and things like that, where there are some people that are like, hey, somebody's going to come save us. And then there's other people, it's like, fuck that, we're going to figure this out and, you know, move to higher ground. I think there's just like, there was like that weird separation around that time.
Yeah, I think it can be separated in like maybe like two different categories. Like you have the antagonist FU mentality of like, I'm doing this no matter what. But then you also have the protectivism of like, you have your children, you have your business, it's your baby. It's like, you know, you were thinking about like maybe the rioters coming in and you have a beautiful storefront in your Lansdale location. Like, you know, are they going to not destroy your business, but they're going to like destroy that symbol of your business and break it down. Like, you know, there's that fight or flight. Like when your kids are in trouble, your business is in trouble, you fight, right? And so like those emotions are tough. But we definitely have like a much edgier side to us than most home builders for sure. Like most like other businesses, not just home building.
Yeah, I would
but
say
like
businesses.
Like we do a lot of businesses, but like we're definitely edgier and much more opinionated people. But what I hear that comes back to us is like, you know, even if like Andrew says something fucking crazy, like he does, people would be like, look, like I don't agree with you guys, but you guys have like a really good product. And so like I can put everything to the side, like your guys' opinions, your opinions. You guys do nice work. Like it doesn't really matter. So,
well, yeah, like
but the edginess.
I hope that people see like in the same way with him. Like I've never gotten a haircut by any one of you guys. I've never been in one of your places, but like I've seen how you've conducted yourself on social media. I know how you speak. I hear how other people speak about you. That like there's, regardless of like if I don't agree with you, there's a relative assumption that I can make that he probably does good business. Yeah. So like when I do that, like I'm assuming or I'm taking for granted that like you might not agree with me, but you're gonna hopefully look at what I'm either doing in business or what I'm saying, and it's gonna like make you think a little further. Like I don't need people to agree with me. I'm just saying things to be like, hey, has anyone even thought about this? Yeah. Like where we're at? Or like this is where I'm at. Like I'm over here fighting for like he's fighting for his Lansdale location, which like some people are like, oh well, that's just a place, and it's like, well, no, it's more than a place. It's like a symbol. It's like you can't just say like your home is just a place. Like if I came to your house and was like, hey, I'm going to burn your house down, somebody would be like, no, I'm going to defend it. And it's like, well, why are you defending it? It's because it's a symbolic to you and like internally to you, like it's important for you to preserve that place.
100%. And then I also think that the edginess, like from that little wild card or edginess in business, I actually think grows leaps and bounds because it's a magnification of like personality. And if you have a strong personality and you have a clear direction where you're going, you don't let people get in your way. It's like, you know what? You may not agree with me, but get out of my way. And you don't.
Well, you have backbone.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Like, I'm so tired of the politically correct. Like, you can't say that you're going to piss off future customers. Like, you know what? If I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it. Like, it's a business, and maybe I was wrong on it. You definitely, probably, in my opinion, coming out of that, like you're probably stronger now than you were. So, in reality, was it a mistake? I don't know. Like, it circled you back into discipline.
Yeah. Yes.
So is that God? Like, I'm not much of a religious person, but is that God's path telling like that was your moment of like snap out of it? You're a shark, you're a killer, continue killing, but you're gonna feel some pain for what you did. You know, like I don't know, like non-edgy people never make it in the world. Like you gotta stand for something.
You have to stand for something, and you have to also. What I have found, it's brought me closer to other people that our opinions were different, our political views were different. We had conversation that was never had before, so it opened up a lot of doors and a lot of conversation for me. And it was, again, you can have your opinions. The way I went about doing what I did was not one, who I am as a human being, like provoking violence in the sense. Like I was like, look, if you come here, this is what's going down. And you don't, you can have that opinion, defend your castle, but do you air that out on social media when you're a platform of come get a haircut, be happy, enjoy yourself? That was like, what is this dude talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's where it got super diluted, and people were, I had people who were clients for years, and they were just like, dude, what, that's not modern male. Like, what is that? What just happened? So again, I think the biggest thing is epic failure in some of the pandemic, but how do you redeem yourself? How do you, instead of hiding in a rock and being ashamed, it's like, how do I go forward? I had multiple conversation with employees. I asked them for their forgiveness because I misrepresented them,
Right.
straight up. And
That brought you closer to probably a lot of them.
it did. And it was, we can all get on our high horse at times. And it was something that I definitely think brought me back down with humility and brought me back to what is the mission? Why are we here? What does Modern Mouth stand for? And it pointed me back to the mission. And we are stronger because of that. The guys that did stay, we lost barbers. A couple barbers decided to leave. That was this thing.
Because of that one incident.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
is what it is.
was there some things that were leading up to that? Look, a lot of people got a lot of money that, guys are playing with Bitcoin and they're now in day investors or whatever, things I didn't even know existed. Like, you got 12 grand, 13 grand now, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm a day trader. And I'm like, really? With 12 grand, 13 grand, okay, well, I wish you the best,
Did you have to, were there some employees that were about to leave that you had to like talk them and bring them back?
Yeah. I had to humble myself in a big way. And again, like I said, I misrepresented the brand and those particular employees. So there were guys that were definitely like, hey, man, I appreciate you reaching out. And what's funny is, we talk about reaching out for help, and, I'm a very prideful person. I'm 24/7. I work 7 days a week. And I probably needed help. I probably needed to talk to somebody. And I just kept going. And a week before that, I had a staff meeting and told these guys, like, we're doing good, keep just posting and keeping it positive. And like,
You literally did the complete opposite.
just like, they were like, I mean, what, like, just, it was insanity. It literally was insanity. I think I just was in a dark place for a couple days. My brother was like trying to talk me off a ledge, like, dude, you gotta like chill. And it was like a freight train ready to explode. And everybody's handled the pandemic, and I think that the biggest thing is for your listeners or anybody, you got to dust off your boots, lace them up, and get back to work, no matter what or how the pandemic was. I mean, this is something that, again, I think our country has never experienced, or at least my grandparents are 92 years old. They've never experienced anything like this.
I think with the way social media is and the Big Brother and this and like the amount of data that they're harvesting from us, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this. I mean, every generation has
Harvesting.
they're harvesting. But I would say,
Adjust my microphone.
I would
again.
say for one like quick thing, without you posting what you posted, I never would have gone in there and gotten a haircut that day or like that week or whatever. And then we never would have been here. And then you may never have like just inspired somebody to like go apologize to someone that like, you never know who's listening. Like the person listening could, that's what I'm saying. Like everything is for a reason.
Call their like estranged daughter up they haven't talked to in like 30 years and be like, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Like you might, like someone listening to this podcast may do that. And it's like, you know what? You were the better man and admitted your mistakes, which is probably harder to do than hiding. And I think that's really cool. So like, not to like harp on what you did, but I think it's really cool. Like you telling me that story. I was hoping we were going to hear this story today.
John's going to get down on one knee soon and propose.
But I'm just saying,
humility is a big, servant leadership is something that we run our business off of servant leadership. We serve our customers and we serve our employees. And, you have to admit when you're wrong sometimes. It's just, it doesn't make it right what you did, but you have to apologize. And I've made mistakes running this business. I've done things that I thought were the best, and maybe they weren't. And there were times when I hit quicksand or hit a rock and I had to back up. And I think most people that I have found who are successful, there is a humility in their character. There's, hey, that wasn't the right direction. Let's back up instead of just being prideful and keep going and going when they know they're going in the wrong direction. They got to back it up a little bit. And there's people that are following you, and you got to admit to them, hey, let's turn this ship around. A good mentor told me, hey, I have many mentors in my life, biblical mentors, church mentors. I got a boxing coach. I have a weightlifting coach. Like, I don't know everything, and I'm not afraid to admit that and say I need help. So I had a mentor told me God can't steer a dead ship. So you got to keep it moving. You might not be moving in the right direction at all times, but you got to steer it and turn it around. When you're going in the wrong direction, you keep on going in that wrong direction, it's tough to turn that boat around, when you're going against the tides. So it's been something I've always kept in my personal life and in my business, because you can't separate the two. It's one, right? So I don't want to have to turn that ship around and do a 180. I want to just kind of turn it into the right direction. So
you gotta keep the business somewhere on the highway, somewhere within the.
And that comes with a cost too. Back in the day, we used to hand people white envelopes, right, at the end of the week. Here's your cash. That's what most barbershops do, right? It's not easy doing the right thing. That's another thing, like paying your taxes. Right, everybody's got their transparency with their organization and certain things that don't hit the bank account. You bought the employees pizza or whatever, little things like that. But the more I turned that ship into a direction that was the opposite of the barber industry, the complete opposite of how my traditional barbers raised me, right? Like, why are you paying your people with a check? The government's going to see that. Well, you're charging $13 for a haircut, and you've been doing it for 40 years. Okay, I want to charge $50 and pay the tax on it and make more money than your $13 haircut, because you have inflation and everything else goes up. But it was like this mentality of, like, hide this and hide that. And our apprentice program, I had barbers, OG barbers, like, why are you teaching other barbers? You're teaching competition. About to have 11 shops. We bought a barber shop in the pandemic because we're doing the right thing, but it comes with a great cost. And that's going back to what you were saying about people just wanting to open up their own thing or do their own thing. They don't understand what comes with that. It's a lot.
I didn't when I started out.
Is everybody that comes out of your academy now, do they pay you back over time for like their teaching?
Yeah. So we have a tuition fee. We allot them. They have to put down a certain amount of money, and then we give them in-house financing for 24 months to pay back the remaining balance.
What if they leave? What if they go to like another shop? What happens? They still pay back?
Well, the academy is on next level contracts. All kinds of stuff. Yeah. It's a different ball game. We're going for accreditation in Title IV, where students can get loans and grant money from the government. So
you also have a 501c. You have a charity organization too.
Yeah, we have. So my father died of cancer when I was 10, going on 11, and the barber shop was for me to replicate the experience that I would have if I went to the barbershop with my dad, hearing my dad talk to the barber, or hearing my dad kind of hang out with the guys and learning things. So my dad had melanoma cancer, and it could have potentially been detected earlier, but my dad was, this old school American Italian, and I'm not going to the doctor. And then he goes to the doctor because he tries to walk up the step, and there's a tumor wrapped around his spine, and he thinks, oh, I have a pinched nerve. Like, this is like how ignorant men are when it comes to like something ain't right. So then again, he ignores it, and then the pain becomes so much, goes to the hospital. I think within 8 months, my father passed away. So Grow a Pair is our 501c3, And grow a pair before you lose a pair. Go get checked out by the doctor. You got something going on, and the barbershop is one of the most prevalent places, or it's a platform to talk about men's cancer, things that affect a man, right? Like, so we have in our restrooms, grow a pair, what it stands for, and guys, have you gotten your prostate checked? It's an uncomfortable situation. Guys don't like to talk about getting a thumb up their ass or a finger up their ass. No one talks about it. They don't want to talk about it. No one talks about their balls getting groped. But you need to.
I guess I'm alone there.
Yeah. You might die. I mean,
That's called pegging.
Oh. Only if you make eye contact, I heard.
I love dude. I go into the barbershops. The reason
I was like, watch when you go there next.
Yeah,
You're like,
funny.
I love. Gilmar clips it up. Next thing you know, you're talking about getting a little weird.
No,
Sitting down on the cushion.
I love going to each barbershop because I don't really have a loyal barber. I go to like wherever's open at the time because I may have like a window.
You aren't loyal to a barber.
I'm not. I just.
It's not like you have a loyal
Are you,
barber.
yeah,
have a
are you
boy
loyal
that
to the
follows you
brand
around.
at least, right?
I'm loyal
Yeah,
to the
appreciate
brand.
that.
I am loyal to the brand, unless I gotta go see. But
My barber's
but
not
my
following me
son,
to my new office.
But my son is 8. He's 8. He's going on 8. But him and Billy got this connection up in Quakertown. He can't go anywhere, dude.
What do you mean?
We have families that have 3 kids and have
Him
to
and
take
Billy.
them to different
Billy's
shops.
the first person that talks shit to my son and like let him have it. Because my son was like in there, like, yo, give me a root beer and a pretzel. And Billy's like, whoa, man, like you gotta get a haircut.
Fall
first.
back,
like,
son.
He fought back, and then him and Billy have been going at it for like years now. Billy's great. But.
Yeah, and again,
I like the
camaraderie,
Yeah, it's great.
stone breaking, you know what I mean, busting up the chops, and we've created something so special. We have guys that work for guys because they've met at a cigar. We do cigar events. We've done straight razor events. We've done things where father sons come in and like we'll do like, you know, how to tie a tie, how to tie a bow tie, like just stuff, how to field strip a squirrel.
Like a man, right?
You know what I mean? Like,
How to change the tire.
we got bashed for the toxic masculinity stuff. I mean,
Dude, you're an
we
expert
got
at that.
destroyed on that.
Feel
You
me?
know what I mean? Yeah, change the
but,
tires.
but that's the thing. Like, that's okay to be
Yeah,
to
change
go in on because I do think there's an attack on masculinity. Like it's been, and I think that's what's caused a lot of problems in today's society. Is the it's not like anything to do with the rights and equality. It has to do with the fact that men sometimes feel ashamed to be a man, right? And like how they are. You know what I mean? Like, and there's
but I would also think that there are people that come to these events that might not have had, like, some people have a dad,
yeah,
and they're just not like,
I guess they never
they're
got a tie
like
talk.
they don't know how to dad, you know. So I'm sure there's guys that bring
you
their
have
kids
that,
in.
and
that,
you
like,
have people like me who didn't have a dad.
Well, that
You know
that
what
was
I mean?
my overarching point is
You're
that
like-
you
are
probably
you a
have
bow
people
tie
that
dude?
just,
What's up?
You a bow tie guy?
yeah, definitely.
No, I used to be a three-piece suit, you know, but now
I actually lost
I'm ripping
money
and
on
running.
that bet. I thought you were going to show up in a 3-piece.
It's just not, you know, I love it, but it's just not where I'm at. I'm moving barber chairs, you know, like.
I heard you
I'm
have
like,
a barber chair fetish, according to Nick. Like you have a whole warehouse of barber chairs.
I just look. I do. I have. I'm taking a trip out to Michigan actually to get 2 barber chairs. It's a timeless.
Get away from it.
Yeah,
he
it's
tried
like,
to run.
it's timeless. You know, I don't want to buy stuff from overseas. I want to buy stuff that was made in Chicago and Detroit. And people don't understand when you sit on one of these chairs, there's history on this thing. Like we know the history of every one of our barber chairs. Like I know what barber owned it, where it came from. It's not coming from China. It's not a chair that if you stand up on it, you're going to fall face first into the station. I have 400-pound chairs. I got guys that are 200-plus pounds standing on these chairs. We tell them not to, but like you ain't getting that anymore. It's garbage what's being made. You know?
I feel comfortable sitting in the chair.
Yeah, I
Get some
got
barber
we
chairs
got
in here.
Big boy chairs,
Yeah.
little boy chairs,
barber
whatever.
chairs in here would be legit.
That's what
Yo,
I was
he knows where to
saying,
get
dude.
them.
I'll rent them out to you guys, but I'm not carrying them up here. I'll tell you that. I'm
We got an
done,
elevator.
man. I am done.
Dude, we should
What if we
work
got
that
barber
out.
chairs though?
Dude,
Oh,
I know. Where are these chairs from? We need some barber chairs. So free.
Yo, second time he gets
Seriously.
Are you guys are getting clowned for your
Let's
chairs?
go.
I feel like
I'm
a-
getting
I feel like
clowned for
a
the
fucking
fucking chairs.
whale sitting in the fucking
Listen,
chair.
I have
I
barber
pick-
chairs at free will. We've put barber chairs in different places.
Oh,
in
dude.
their wine, their shower
Dude,
wine
legit.
basement.
3 barber chairs in here. I'll shout you out every podcast. I'll be
Yeah,
like,
for real.
this podcast
Modern
is brought
Mail
to you by
Reddit.
All right.
Modern Mail.
All right.
These 3 chairs right here, our asses are
Yeah,
mwah.
comfy.
sitting
No,
proper.
yeah, so we put all this together pretty quickly. This space came available because the woman ran for office and lost.
Let's go.
So let's go. Fire shotgun. Boom, boom. So she had to pack up her stuff, and we were like, "Oh, what's up with that space upstairs?" So
We
we
had a
moved
much
up
smaller
here,
space.
and we were gonna set the studio up, and then I was like, "Dude, we need to get chairs and everything." So I ordered everything real quick off Target, and
He's been living.
I've
He's been living from his mistake ever since.
I've been hearing about my mistake in the chairs ever since. So
Day
we're
2 is much more comfortable in the chairs. I will admit. I'm
No,
more
these chairs are
comfortable
nice.
today.
They're just
Dude,
not barber
legitimately,
chairs.
last night I came here and I just kicked your fucking chair all night long. Like I kicked it from different
It
angles.
feels softer.
You're like,
today.
oh, it's softer today, and I'm like, yeah, I dropped it from with the elbow off that chair over there.
Yeah, you gotta wear it in.
Top rope.
Yeah, we can set up some chairs here. Yeah.
Dead serious. I would do that.
Put a barber station
I don't-
over there.
I'm gonna
a
have you
cocktail
follow up on
bar.
that.
Oh, that'd be
He
sick.
scraps chairs for other chairs for parts.
I do.
old
Well, you
cars.
have to.
Well, yeah, you got-
There's
well,
hydraulic compression there,
Yes.
right? And you have to.
Nobody's
pump the oil.
doing this anymore. So it's just like
People do that with cars though too.
No, it's fucking
I'm
makes-
just
that's great.
obsessed with what I do in the sense of barbering, and there's a balance, right? Work-life balance or whatever. But eventually, there's going to be people or someone, a young man, or I'm going to have 100 barber shops across the country and multiple barber schools, which that's the direction that we're going in. I'm going to need chairs. So I'm collecting these. There is the 75-year-old. It's the pandemic. I went bonkers buying stuff. I mean, I probably was my wife. We just bought. I'm 38 years old. I just bought my first house.
Okay.
And my wife told me that if I open up another shop before I buy a house, she's gonna leave me. And that's how, like, I have a 2012 Honda, like, I'm still driving around, right? Like, there's dedication, perseverance, and the barber chairs in the collection. I have barber poles that are sitting lying dormant. They're gonna go on a shop one day. They're going to go on a shop. They're gonna be somewhere. And I don't want to buy that stuff. Like, you can buy a barber pole on Amazon right now for $100. And that's what a lot of people open up a barber shop and they got money and they just put like 30 grand into it. Like, it's all brand new stuff.
Yeah.
And then they think that's going to like back up their customer service. Like, look how cool our shop is, but your customer service sucks. So all the stuff that you just spent money on just went out the window because your customer service is terrible.
When I was getting my hair cut in Doylestown, your cabinet guy came by. That built
Kenneth.
Dude, he was awesome. He was loved. He made
He's
this
the
like
man.
He made this bookshelf that for the break room. It was like a bookshelf that slid shut. And he was like admiring his work. He I don't think he'd seen it since like they got installed.
No, he
and
hasn't.
stuff.
He sent me. So you were there. He sent me
Yeah,
photos
yeah,
of him getting a
yeah.
haircut. Yeah, he did a great job. And yeah. See, he's actually going to be hopefully potentially doing our next shop. Kenneth, he's a good dude.
Apparently in the morning because it's an old train station, and for years this lady's been like taking showers in there in the sink. For, like
They told you about that too.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah,
Man, they're just letting it all out, huh? now people are thinking like, I can come. You cannot come to the Doylestown location and take a shower. I'm making that real clear
So
right now.
they put locks on the doors for the bathrooms. Fucking hilarious.
We had to. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, there was a particular person who was
Karen.
just using a lot of paper towels and shoving them instead of in the trash can because they weren't used for anything but to dry themselves or just kind of wash themselves. They were putting them in the toilet.
You gotta wash away the DNA evidence.
I guess. I mean, or put it in a trash can and SEPTA's going to come pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, was just when you're at a train station, there's characters. So we're
I
at
love
the
it,
Lansdale
yeah.
train station, and we're at the Doylestown train
You
station.
are at Lansdale train station, yeah.
And people are like, "Well, you're in Doylestown. What's the problem?" I'm like, it's a train, and the train brings in characters. You know, so
No, that's a fact.
gotta take it, right?
Dude, but thanks for bringing us these glasses.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I felt well. So we have our own blend of Nicaragua cigars, a tobacco blend.
Yeah.
So I was gonna bring you guys some cigars, but I'm gonna have them. I'll have Chelsea, my assistant, ship them out to you.
Wish we could smoke cigars in here.
We've already been accused of smoking weed in here, so what's cigars?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I just
Get like a fan going.
The next office we do, we're definitely gonna do some sort of fan system.
We gotta do some sort of like loft, big open space. Yeah.
Yeah, something for
So we are compound.
Yeah.
Our industrial.
Our dreams is we want a compound. We want a farm with like a big,
Like a clubhouse.
like a clubhouse,
like a
but
big old man fort.
Like Little Rascals, but 2021.
We'll put our cabinet.
Right?
We have a cabinet shop, so we'll put our
Bigger
cabinet
Rascals.
shop in there.
Yeah, bigger Rascals.
We'll put our offices in there, but then
Nice.
we'll also put like all of our hobbies and shit in there.
Yeah, cars, yeah.
So where are you guys taking your
To the moon with Bitcoin.
like you have you have your business now, right? Your and then now you have your podcast, right? So like where did the podcast come from for you guys? Like cuz I was coming in here, I was like trying to do my research and listening, and some of them I listened to, I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to get roasted on here or something." Like, I was a little nervous coming here.
We've definitely gone through lots of variants of like, and if you stuck with us as a listener, thank God. But like the production value, like Gilmar didn't used to sit in on all of them. Now he's here, like making sure like we look good, sound good.
we got cameras coming.
Cameras are coming. So like the whole idea is we have other podcasts we host. So like they'll come in and use the space.
Oh, nice. So I can use this.
We don't host them, we produce them. So like you say
Yeah.
you wanted to make a show, we have like the home building business. So we do like new homes, we do the remodels. Then we have like the wood shop, and the wood shop for a while just supported like our construction
It's
business.
pretty much just going to feed our business.
Just because we needed, like we do higher end construction, and like that requires like every now and then you need just something weird. Like you need bench tops, you need different things made, and like going to someone or like finding someone to make that thing for you, and then those people are busy, or like there's always that thing. So we're just going to cut out the middleman and do the shop.
You got to be the full market. You know, that's the one thing I tell my barbers all the time. Like, do you have the landscaper come to your house, and then the snow remover company, and then the lawn mowing company, and then the boom, boom, boom? Or do you say, hey, we're going to be the full gamut? Like, what do you need for your house? I have it covered, right? Like
we actually have. So one of our business is a concierge business where
we
don't take,
literally called concierge.
We don't take that many customers. They have to pay a monthly entry fee, but for that they get access to us and all of our tradespeople to go in and like repair. So
it's like a mini. It's like a mini. Like what we do best in construction is project management, and organization, and like the relationships. Like that's what drives a good project, and then like those projects inevitably need to be maintained forever.
Yeah,
and then so you've built this relationship up with the customer. So it's like, well, we can't charge them what we charge them to like be here all the time. But we can't like just go free will with this. So like we decided like, okay, we'll set up a paywall. We'll create like this membership, platform, and it won't be for everybody, but we don't need it to be for everybody. We're really just trying to help our customers that need help. We're not trying to sell this to like for everybody. We just want to help the people that need it.
And then you have
the system in place.
Contractors in the sense that you work with, that if someone needs something, you're like, hey, we got this company.
Oh no, for sure.
And then you're like the liaison to the company. You're speaking their language. Like, hey, look, this is what they want. This is what the homeowner wants.
Yeah,
so we're like
it's
like a white glove single source provider.
Because like someone to call a plumber that doesn't know a plumber, or like
they're traveling,
or like most people, a lot of our customers are customers we've built homes for, which is like a good testament to like what we do. But they just moved into the areas, majority of them. They don't know plumber, electrician, whatever. So like we just become their source of everything. So that's kind of like
or they're busy people.
That's kind of like our real estate, like construction, renovation. Then we do some development where we develop properties like that. My strong background is like has been that, even though like we've moved but like we do approvals and development and find land and stuff like that. But then
the media company,
and then the media company like it started off with us trying to help people, trying to connect people and like bring people together, because I think, you know, with social media and people just don't connect anymore. They don't know how to talk. Like we said that on our podcast a lot. Like nobody knows how to debate and not get personal.
Mm-hmm.
So like we may
even have a conversation,
even just a simple. So an idea is like bring people throughout the community and let's create a community of business people.
Yeah, just around having good conversations and just like have good conversation. People, I'm sure people got value from hearing like how, you know, you create your vision and you follow like your plan, like all that. Like people need to hear that stuff because there's not enough of that juice out there right now.
You think there's like this silver bullet, this magic, and I still spend money. There's a few people I listen to. There's some things that I've invested in, like Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect is a book. Servant Leadership. Andy Frisella. I went through the 75 hard program. Like I got it tattooed on my thigh. I mean, it was like game changer for me. I've invested in myself, and it's important, you know, when you're around someone. Like the other day, I was on the phone with a hair industry guru, and he just said at the end of our conversation, he said perseverance, and that's all I needed to hear was perseverance. You know, it's. I always ask people, what's your threshold of pain? You know, what's your financial roof? You know, like I decided not to open up or buy a house for years because I kept investing. I had a financial advisor that I'm now starting to invest in because he wanted me to do things years ago, and I wasn't ready. I was investing in other shops. We have our own pomade company now. You know, that's a whole nother business for us. It's a whole nother level of, it's a whole nother business. And it's like constant, like I could have bought a bigger house. I could have had a nicer car. And for me, where I'm at, I had to make a choice. Do I invest in this new business, this new venture, like I said before, with this cut jacket thing, this partnership with Canada? It's money, it's time, it's energy. And I'm like, well, I could be watching Chicago PD right now, which is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, shout out to Chicago PD.
Yeah, I do. Bam. But do I watch this, or do I endlessly kind of scroll? Like I took social media off my phone for 8 months, 9 months, and it was like freeing. It was very freeing. And what you were saying, like, you know, the barber shop for us, we have blue collar, white collar, black, white, Asian, Vietnamese, and they're all sitting next to each other and they're equal. Like that's, you don't get that in many places.
Unless they're bald. Because then you're in a barber shop, you're not equal in a barber shop.
I'm bald, bro. Come on, man. Jeez. We got a pomade company, and people are like, "What do you know about pomade, dude? You're bald." You know,
my beard,
It's like a skinny chef.
Yeah.
Shout out Gilmore.
Yeah, dude, he's got a Peloton. He's skinny as shit now.
What do you know, right? So you have to evolve, and you know, I think that in business, you have lanes, but those lanes, you know, are different avenues, or in your lane, you can have multiple businesses in that lane. And that's where we're at. Like, you know, so right now I'm going to Florida.
Do people ever get critical of that? Like, do people ever be like, what, like, why would you just stick with the barbershops, man?
Yeah. So SMP is something I'm going to Boca Raton to get trained on in March, where I will now be tattooing hairlines, receding hairlines, balding in the crown area. Men like myself who are 100% bald, they are tattooing, which makes it look like hair follicles. And it looks like someone literally decides to shave their head all the time, but has a full head of hair. So I had a friend of mine go, that's
like
not
like stippling, like where they do that. Like
it's just like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it's shading certain, you know, your colors and your water and your whites.
Intense.
And men are paying $4,000, $5,000 for it.
Damn.
And I had a client who did it. Drove to New York. No one in the Philadelphia suburban area is doing it. $4,000.
People pay a lot of
3
bald
times.
is like a thing, like being.
Men don't like. Now I'm blessed because I do have a very nice shaped head.
You got
Yeah,
nice head.
my brother, my
I'm
brother's
proportioned
bald,
properly.
or he's not actually
brother
bald.
bald?
He's not bald. He just keeps his head completely shaved.
Yeah.
Because his hair's like,
I guess he
I
does.
think inevitably he's gonna go bald, so he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go bald. I'm just gonna shave my head, and dude, his head's like this perfect little like. I'm like, dude, when he finally shaved his head completely, I was like,
man, you look
dude,
good.
I was like,
right?
dude, this is a look for you,
Yeah.
man. Like this actually works.
God only made a few good heads and used hair to cover the rest, right? So, yeah.
Great defense mechanism.
Oh yeah, people were like, you're a bald barber. I mean, I get it all the time. You're a bald barber. Like, what do you know about cutting my?
I don't got time to cut my hair.
Yeah, like you're fat, so why are you in the gym? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're doing what you're doing, right? You know.
I used to have a fat trainer in City Fitness when I used to with JP. He was big. But he was a good trainer.
now
I mean,
I
trainers
could
need
rip
to
you
know
and
how
him
to-
apart right now.
Oh no,
Oh, damn.
it's been a while.
No, it's,
Where's he at?
He is not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going down to Florida.
Yeah, I'm going to Florida because it's the evolution of there's people that we have 17,000 clients. Okay, there's 3%, 4% that would have that done. I don't want them driving in New York. Like, hair replacement for men. Hair systems. There's men who are wearing wigs. Guys that are 30 years old, 25 years old. They don't want to be bald, and they're paying money for that.
Is that a bigger thing than we realize, like wigs and things like that?
There's a lot of people that haven't done. So my friend, a good friend of mine, why are you doing that? That's not modern male barbershop. That's like, you're getting out of your lane. And I said, well, number one, I'm not doing it in every shop. It's going to be one location. And to me, a client or a patron who walks into a barber shop but might go up to the second floor and have a service done, no one knows what's being done. So you're walking into a shop, and all of a sudden you go upstairs and have SMP done, or you have a hair system replacement or whatever. No one knows you have that done.
You don't get embarrassed by doing it.
No, there's guys that walk into those places. It's like going into some of the other places that they don't want anyone to know that they're walking into.
The rubby, tuggy,
Yeah,
tuggy.
yeah,
I go to the one right here across the street.
I mean, they do that. They put their head down like, I'm just getting a massage. No, you're not. Everybody knows why you're going in there. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like in the most secrete place, or, it's like right there in your face on 309, and you're like, you're not walking into the office furniture place, buddy.
It's got neck
like,
pain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, guy needs a haircut. Does he? I don't know. Maybe he's having something else done, right? Like, so you don't know. But they feel comfortable. And again, it's being done in a barbershop. Most places don't offer that. It's just high-end, fancy salon.
Do you guys do like manicures or pedicures or any of your
We
stuff?
don't. We have people that ask, and then so like, and every time you evolve in business, you just get people that are like, why are you doing that, right? Like, Modern Male has women barbers now. Okay, so I got to break this down real quick. We were like super, like, we have 10 commandments in the barbershop, and I think it says twice, no girlfriends allowed. No girlfriends, right? So then people interpreted that as like, whisper down the rain, like no women. No, it's no girlfriends. So if
No
you
drama.
were a kid,
No drama, right?
if you were a kid and you were 16 years old and you brought your girlfriend into the barbershop, we had printed out like from Google, like ugly kid with braces or pimples. So we'd be like, hey, did you know what little Jimmy over here looked like last week? And we would show his girlfriend a picture, right? Half of them never came back, the guys. They were, they were mortified. But moms, I was raised by a single mom. My mom always did right by me, right? Like, I love, moms and single moms, and they work hard just like, so we created an atmosphere where we're like, look, don't bring your girlfriend here. Women are more than welcome. Your wife's welcome. The barbers are respectful. So we had women who tried to get employment at Modern Male. They were cosmetologists, regardless, whatever, but they were not Modern Male material, like in the sense of the way they conducted themselves, their professionalism. So it wasn't because they were a woman. It was just like, this isn't going to work out.
There were thoughts.
Now we have women who are barbers. They're professional. And now we have people being offended that we have women barbers in our barbershop. We have women being offended that there's women in our barbershop cutting hair. Like, it's just like, this is the evolution of what we're doing, and it's better. It's a better environment, and we're employing people who are licensed barbers.
We need to get a sound bite. I don't know whose voice it is, but the one who's like, "Get out of here!" You know what I'm saying? Can we get that one? It's definitely like Al Pacino from something. Get out of here!
The Goodfellas or something.
Yeah, because
So it's like,
when we hear stuff like that,
when you have people say, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like,
They're
doing
jealous.
it. No, I'm doing it now. Now I'm like, I'm on to something.
I've had a lot of people be like, "Why are you opening a cabinet shop? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?"
A lot of
I had a
John's
lot of
was
people like, "Why'd you get a partner?"
and then all this other shit just happened after him. Then they're like, "Oh, dude, look what the partner did. You got a cabinet shop."
One of the best
What are you
compliments
doing?
I got, because getting a partner was a big decision, I think, for both of us, right?
Yeah.
Because partnerships either go really bad
Yeah.
or they go really, really well or like terribly bad.
Yeah.
There's no moderate.
My
partner.
whole network was like, "Why are you getting a partner?" I was like, "Look, man, like John can do a lot, but what if I pair with like my opposite, but 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2? Like 1 + 1 could equal like 10 or 100 with us."
I was a lot less eloquent with my explanation. Very few people ask me anything usually. I was like, "Well, have you ever seen the movie Double Dragons?" Right, when their swords connect and then they become like the double dragons. I was like, there you go. And they were like, well, no, I've never seen that movie. And I was like, well, go watch the movie and then come back and ask me the question.
Yeah. So
It's just kind of, it's a double dragon scenario.
but it's one of the best decisions like that I've ever made, and I think the best decision like he's ever made. And like now,
aside from getting Rambo.
aside from the dog, yeah, that really calmed you down. That was good.
Yeah, we're doing better.
Doing better with Rambo.
But your partnership, just like anything, right? Like a win-win doesn't happen overnight, and that's, I talk about that with my employees. Like, we want to create a win-win, right? Like I'm here, you're here, Modern Male, we're on the same playing field, but what's our common goal? What are we working towards? And when you have that common goal, there's bumps in the road. It can, especially with partnerships, it can be a little rocky. And what's the direction that we're going in? But what's our end goal? Like, do you want to make $1 million by yourself and it takes you 20 years? Or you can make $1 million with a partner or a mutual partner in the sense of working towards a common goal, and you do it in 5 years. And then you're moving into other things, right? Like,
by 20 years, you're making $100 million. So
where you'd never make that before. And then with us, it's also like we both didn't want to suck and drain the business dry of like cash. So like a lot of partners would say, all right, at the end of the year, what do we got left? We're going to split that.
Yep.
Where is we try to minimize the little amount of money as we can to take out of the business.
I would say that's probably one of the things, like in thinking about it right now, that's probably one of the things that would have been or is still most critical about the success of our relationship is like we agree with like how money needs to be handled. And then I also think like financially, neither one of us is like in a position that we need to take more out of a business than that business is capable of providing. I've been in situations before where like, to no fault to those people, they just like, they want to build a business up to a certain size, but they require to take so much blood out of that business all the time that you're never going to get those muscles. You're never going to get big enough to get to that goal that you have for yourself because you keep taking.
Well, yeah, again, it's what's your
hard
threshold
discipline.
of pain.
Yeah.
It's discipline. What is your pain tolerance? Do you want the maybe you guys could have the 600 Mercedes right now, but maybe you want
Cameras.
college funds, you want like whatever it is for the future.
There's tons of stuff that like I want to buy.
The biggest thing is that people are I don't understand the short-sighted or they're nearsighted. They can't see past their nose.
Maybe their nose is too big.
No, it's too small. I don't know. You can't. There's things that I've done in my life 10 years ago that put me in an opportunity now, and I never knew it. Like, there's things that I'm able to do with my life now that I didn't envision me doing. I wasn't like, I'm going to take my daughter to school every morning. I didn't think about being able to take my daughter to school, but I can, or take her to horse.
How great is that?
It's amazing, but there's a great sacrifice that comes with that. And again, the sacrifice, when you have a passion and a burning to do what you're doing, there's it's not that it's unstoppable. It's not that things don't happen, but you know, like I know for me, there's going to be a board of people that exist that I don't even know who they are, and Modern Male Barber Academy is going to bless a young man or a woman in 20 years from now, 50 years from now. I'm going to be dead. And they're not even like, oh, yeah, Nicky The Barba, he's the founder. And like, whoop-de-doo, right? There's a picture of me and
with the glasses.
with like a barber chair, like many barber chairs and a barber pole. And they're like, yeah, whatever, you know, right? Like, who cares about that guy? But I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know that I'm not going to reap some of the benefits of what I'm doing. You know, I could have a shore house or a vacation home, and I'm choosing not. I'm okay with that. Like me personally, that's not what I care to do. I want to be able to leave something behind, because you can't take wealth without giving wealth back. And a lot of people, just like you said, they want to build up a business and just suck it dry, sell it. They leave everybody behind. They leave the employees behind.
Well, sometimes the mentality like isn't even that aggressive. Like the mentality that I see is like people just, they think that it's just like their idea of the way things should be, or the way they're just like, yeah, that's how it is. It's like when you interview people, it's like, well, I need this much money a week. And like sometimes when you hear it from people, the number's like real high based upon like what skill set they have, which is just like is what it is. And you're like, so let me understand this. Like you've made a lot of poor decisions, which have led to you to have a lot of debt, or have you done things that like you made a mistake, and like now I'm supposed to, or my business is supposed to burden that, even though like we pay above the industry probably for a lot of things, because like we do higher quality, or we care, or we have, you know, the family, so we help our team out. Yeah. But like when you meet people, outsiders, you're like, you need what? Because what reason? And it's like, oh yeah, I can't come to work for you. This is what I need. And it's like, well, like, how do you ask for that? Or like people will start businesses. Like I've had friends start businesses, and they look at me like I'm an alien. But at the same time, they're like, oh yeah, I started my business. Like, of course I'm going to take, you know, August off and go to the beach. It's like, oh, do like, yeah, I'm like, you don't understand that. Like, that's like, it's that so foreign to me that like getting the reward before you like earned it, that it's like, I'm like, I just don't even, I'm like, how did you get to that place where you just like, you think like, you know what? I had kids, you know, I own a business, but like I had kids. So like I'm going to drive my kid to school every day, but your business is fucking failing. And like your employees are waiting for you in the morning while you drive your kid to school. It's like, well, yeah, it's like you want to have this business, and the business is supposed to be supporting your family, and like the supporting your family, like that's your protection. Your job is to protect that unit. And then like your employees are also part of your family. So like you're also not protecting them. Yep. So get the fuck out of business. Like just shut down, just close your doors. Like you are putting everybody on your team at risk. You are either extremely selfish or you're ignorant and selfish. And when I interact with those people, I just like, I've learned that like I cannot be friends with you anymore. Even if we've been friends our whole life. And I know that sounds like, to some people that might just sound ridiculous, that I personally cannot get past that. But when I look, it's like, could you sit across from like a pedophile? You know what I'm saying? No, you absolutely couldn't do that knowingly, like participate in that. But like, I can't knowingly sit across from someone who doesn't take themselves seriously and their responsibilities seriously. If you think you share the same responsibilities as me, like you think we wake up this every day and we do the same thing, we do business. Like you're not doing the same thing as me. Like you're not even practicing business. Like, sorry, I got a little fired up there. That's not a fired shot. That's not a shot at the one person. There's at least 8 people that can take that fucking straight to the face right now.
No, there's a lot of people, you know, like social media and entrepreneurship and the entrepreneur spirit. Like everybody thinks they're an entrepreneur because they have an idea or they know how to do something, but you got to wear the hats. Like,
have you heard the term wantrepreneur?
Wantrepreneur?
Like somebody that
like
wants
to be an entrepreneur?
Like,
I haven't.
You're
heard
not
that
an
word
entrepreneur,
yet.
bro. You're just a wantrepreneur. Like you you're not doing it yet. You just like.
My old mentor told me, I was very fortunate to grow up. At 17, I got an apprentice program with the Troilo family, and he said there's people who are meant to be owners and business leaders, and there's people who are meant to be employees. And he said that to me as like, you're an employee. Like, he wasn't like, yeah, Nick, you should go do your own thing. You're Nicky the Barba. He was like, my man, yeah, like,
gave you the wink.
It was humbling because they gave me a lot of responsibility, and then when I talked out of line or was like, you know, why don't we do this? And they're like, you know, you don't know why we're not doing that. But I'm like, well, I just saw like, you know, the smaller picture, and they're like, look, man, you know, what's short term, midterm, long term? What you're thinking is short term, it's going to affect the long term. What you're thinking is midterm, it's going to affect the short and the long term. So it put things in a perspective of what am I doing now, and how's that going to affect me in, you know, 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Like, I'm 38. I hope that Nicky the Barba at 50 is like, my man, Nicky at 38, thank you for setting me up for success. Thank you for doing what you did.
Thanks for doing the 75 hard.
Yeah, like, because I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm financially stable, I'm this, that, and the third, whatever. But what we put in now is what we get out later. And we don't know how later it's going to be. You know,
Could be 10. It could be 5 years. It
could be
10
6
years,
months. You never know. I mean,
like,
Yeah, but that's like that's the other side of the coin, though. That like some of those people that like my issue is with the people that like want to be those things, and they're either lying to themselves or they like know they aren't those things, and they're keeping it going. My issue is not with like the employees or the people that like want to go home and enjoy their family, because like there's the opposite of that coin too, where like we work really hard, but there's also people that are like, hey man, I don't want to work as hard as you because I want to enjoy, you know, the time I'm with the kids every day.
Yeah, look,
So, like,
I have to read this to you. I have notes, and I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have to write a note in my note thing, or 2 o'clock, whatever, during the day. So I wrote, an owner is not an owner when he becomes an owner. An owner is an owner before they own anything. They own their own responsibilities, their own tasks at hand, their own failures. I have they exercise characteristics that money cannot buy. You don't just say you're going to do something and all of a sudden you become that. Like, I'm going to open up a barbershop, so now I'm an owner. Well, you were a crappy employee before. You treated everyone like crap. You cutthroat everybody. You did things that were inappropriate and unethical, and now all of a sudden you think you're going to change because you opened up a brick and mortar? No, you're not. You're going to be the same person. You know, there's you know, I have guys like, well, why aren't I this, or why aren't I in this position? It's like, well, you can't get paid to be trained. You know, like a lot of small businesses can't afford that. You corporate America, you know, like, oh, you're fresh out of school, I'll give you 50 grand. 6 months later, they realize you're terrible. We can afford to write off the 30 grand we already paid you. I can't pay someone 10 grand and go, hey, can you give me that 10 grand back? Because you actually weren't worth the 10 grand and you never earned it. You never produced an ROI on the 10 grand. At least 11 grand. Nothing.
That hits home like last week. We had a situation like that like recently. That's pretty.
It's hard.
That's a fresh wound.
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
hard. I mean, I gotta say, big shout out to my barbers right now. Our team is amazing. They are committed guys. They believe in the mission. They believe in what we're doing, and they work very hard. And we really do have an amazing team of barbers, team leaders.
How many barbers do you have?
Right now, I believe we have close to 28.
And like, how do you conduct? Like, do you have like a team meeting, like a rah-rah meeting every week, or like, how do you do that?
Communication is key, right? So, you know, back in the day, the old boss or the old Stone Age guy had all the people in the bottom of the ship rowing, and he just screamed at them and told them what direction to go in and threatened them. We have clear transparency in our organization. We are very honest with our people financially. We let them know where we're at, the direction that we're going in. We have EPAs, employee performance agreements. We have them quarterly. What are your goals? So you told me you wanted to buy a new car. So when I see a guy not showing up, we have the EPA. We say, hey Jimmy, you said you wanted to buy a new car this year. Well, you haven't been showing up to work. Your uniform is looking crinkly. Your retention is not that good because you're smoking cigarettes and smell like coffee, or the way you've been talking to some of the other patrons is not appropriate. You are now directly having an effect on what you want. It's not about us. You come to Modern Mail, how can we help you get to your goal, right? That common win-win situation.
EPA.
Employee performance agreement. We have logical, right? Like, what do you physically need to be doing? What do you emotionally need to be doing? And we set goals. So at the end of the quarter, you should hit 30 grand. How do you do that? We rewind back the 30 grand and say you need to see XYZ clients. We give them the whole full gamut. It's your choice to put the work in, though. You cannot make anyone do that, right? Like, they have to perform. But why?
So are you doing like 4 of those meetings a week, or is there just
We
one
do
week a quarter where you
quarterly.
just fucking crush it all out? In one
Quarterly we do it, and then we do quarterly team meeting. We meet with our managers, team leaders once a month and on Zoom, and then physically we get together and do dinner, have conversation with them, and then on Tuesday morning they would have conversation with their team and say, okay, guys, here's where we're at this week, right? Like,
So you have like fire team leader, and then they go
Yeah.
to each store.
Who's
and
the
then
guy that runs around and like make sure everything's running? He was like,
so
he
right
brought
now
like he brought like business cards. He was changing the door lock. Like, who's that good?
So Paul is a barber, and Paul is a handyman that came up through our academy, and he's amazing. On Tuesdays, he'll switch out a screen door. He'll paint and touch up the academy.
He also fired
replace
up your
the locks.
employees like in a positive way when he came in. Like they were sitting there, and like he came in, like gave him business cards, like fired him up, like. And after he left, like the whole energy in the whole place like had changed.
Paul is a dedicated guy to the mission, and that energy reflects his belief. You have commitment and compliant. Commitment is I'm here because I want. No, we don't put a gun to any one of our employees' heads and make them come to work. They choose. But then you have commitment, which we have a very good team that's committed to the mission. They understand. No one does anything until they understand the benefit for themselves. Right? Like, why should I do this? Well, how does it directly benefit me? I know you're asking me to do it, but well, let me show you why. If you do this and introduce every new client to all the barbers, it benefits you because that client feels at home. You just made them instantly feel like, I know Frankie and Jimmy and Rachel and Johnny. I feel like a part of this place, right? Like, that's why it benefits you. Okay? Does it benefit the customer and the team and the organization, right? Why does it benefit? What was your question? I'm sorry, I just went off.
Team leaders, and
There was
how do
something else.
you do the performance reviews with all the people? and
EPAs.
who the dude was, or
Paul. We talked about that. Oh man, it's just
team leaders.
Yeah, my question was like, how often are you meeting, or like to have like a rah-rah like meeting?
We once a week.
Yeah.
The team leader. We talk to our team leaders once a week.
How
on
many
the
team
phone.
leaders do you got?
6 right now, and then we have our GM Ray. So between me, Ray, we run the shops, and then my brother Vinny is the head instructor at the academy, and then I'm in there with him as well. So you have to become if you want to grow, you have to become a teaching organization, right? Like, my name was in everything, right? Like, it was everywhere. Now it's like,
You hear him
runs
squeaking
what?
in the
I have the
background.
same thing. I try to hide that at my house. I got the same squeaky thing, and I'm like, man, let me tuck this in the closet. So
Rambo.
yeah, no, you have to be a teaching organization and explain to people why are they joining your team. Like, we don't want anyone that's not committed. That's what I was talking about, commitment and compliance. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. And then they don't do it. And you're like, why are you not doing this?
Yeah, I call them prisoners.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're not in prison. You're in prison. You're in prison, and the other employees who work with them are in prison. Not them. They're loving life. They do whatever they want, and they get paid.
There are like certain ways that you have to teach people. Like, some people are like, they have knowledge, they don't have the will. Like, so you got to be like. Then there's some people who don't have the knowledge, but they have like the motivation. So you got to
Look,
teach.
you have
and it's
skills
like,
and behaviors.
yeah, I'd rather have somebody that is motivated.
Yeah.
And knows, because I don't think you can teach hard work, or it takes a really long time to rub off.
Yeah, it is contagious. It is contagious, but there's one of my faults is that I love people, and I was a loser, and I had someone, my mentors, the Troilo family, believed in me, and they gave me a chance. I tried to hit a woman the first day I ever worked at the shop because she disrespected me. I mean, that's how raw I was. I was a loser, and the son called me out on it. Called me out and said, "You're a loser." Before I even came in, he said, "You ain't going anywhere in life. And why don't you come into the salon sometime and see what you think?" And that was resonated on me throughout my life. I believe in people. I don't bean count. I'd fire people all day long based on beans, not performing or this, that, and the third. People need to be cared for and loved. And when you treat them like a human being, they respect that. We have guys that went to rehabs multiple times. We didn't throw them out like a piece of trash. We loved them and cared for them and got the help that came alongside them as much as we can. And they're with us still to this day, and they're prospering and they're booming. Is there a place and time when some people have to go, when they are like such behavior issues that they aren't willing to change and aren't willing to see? Yeah. But too many people also bean count. You know, you're not performing. You know, like our EPA is not just about like numbers, like, hey, you were supposed to hit 830 haircuts this quarter and you only did 650. It's like, are you okay? What's going on?
Yeah, you said it was more about like what they can do on their professional, personal, emotional life to get to their goal, and you let them set like kind of like what their goal is. So they hold themselves responsible. And how can we
put you in a position to get there?
Right.
How do we help you get what you want? What do we want? We want multiple locations. Why do we want multiple locations? Well, because there's a lot of crappy barbershops out there, and I don't like the way they're conducting business. And you know, part of it is I don't want to see them be there. They're providing an unhealthy environment for barbers and customers.
How do you? This is a question for me. How do you handle when like there's other people conducting business and they're taking advantage of people or like conducting themselves in such fashion, but they also think they hold themselves to like the same standard you do? Like, so you have modern male barbers, and then you have like male modern barbers down the street, and those people are just fucking scum. Like, how do you handle that?
It's hard, man. I punch a pillow at night. I scream into it. I pray. I get angry, and then sometimes that anger is projected where I got to be careful because my employees are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Why? I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and it's a calling on my life. Like, it's a calling. I am called to do and put people in the positions that I am in. It's a great responsibility, and it enrages me. It makes me sick to my stomach. I want to go to their front door with a goat and slit its throat and let it bleed out on their property and say, you need to leave this place because you are wrong for doing what you're doing. You're a leader no matter what in life. No matter what, you're leading. You're leading your family down a direction. You're leading your coworkers, your employees, your loved ones, and you're either leading them in a place of goodness or stagnant, of nowhere. Like, it's not good. So there's people that are leading other young men and women to the slaughterhouse. They're not going to be barbers in 5 years. They're not even going to be in this industry because of the environment that they were put in. You know, there's barbers paying people cash. They're 1099. They're not even 1099. They're booth rent. Hey, give me $500 for that chair a month. Give me $300. I don't care what you do. Wear what you want. Smell like what you want. Smoke weed. Wear headphones. Wear sweatpants. That's not a barber shop. These people, there's barber shops in our area that don't even have barbers. You're not a barber. You don't even have a barber license. You didn't go to school for that. So how dare you call yourself a barber? It's very upsetting. And there's no one regulating it. They just
sounds like
have a barbershop.
Goats.
Yeah, that was a little too intense. I'm sorry, Scratch that.
I fucking love it because
I want to throw a brick through their window.
We go through the same thing.
It's upsetting.
We get there's a lot of people.
I get kind of fired up, and you know, when I see people conducting themselves beneath what I call, you know, the board standard. Like, I know you're not our company. I know you really don't have any like effect on us, but like
you do though. Yes,
you hurt the industry, and then next time I deal with a customer like that, they're thinking about the time they got fucked by you.
And you know what you do? Like, this is how I silence them. To me, I'm a very competitive person, and I keep it very low key. I'm so competitive. I want to be better than myself yesterday. That's how competitive. I don't care. I don't ever look to my right or look to my left. I don't care who you are. Okay, well, but I want to destroy my model from last week. I want to be better than what I was last year, last quarter, whatever it be. If you want to be better than yourself, no one's going to be better than you. If you're growing yourself on such a level of how do I make it better because I know it can be better, and what I knew then, I now know more now, so I have to make that better. I have to constantly revisit the same areas of my business and go, oh man, I did that last year. Whoops. Well, I met with the accountant, or I met with this new financial advisor. He goes, that was not a good thing. Like, it was okay, right? Like, it's getting by. Your employees are good, but I'm like, I want health benefits. The barber industry, the barber works 13 hours a day, destroys himself. He has no work-life balance. He eats like crap, drinks like a sailor, multiple relationships, no marriage. My barbers, they're now starting to create a health, wealth, life balance. We educate our barbers on finances. So when I have these people who are doing things that are hurting people, it hurts. It hurts to see other people. So how do you outshine them is by having multiple barbershops and people going, oh, you didn't come out of jail? Oh, you're not a high school dropout? Oh, you don't sell drugs on the side? Oh, you don't work another job? You have a wife that stays home with 3 kids and you have a 2-car garage and live in a $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 house and you're a barber? Whoa, I never heard anything like that. That's how we kill them. That's how we make, when we do things properly, like for our industry, like we have barbers that will have a straight razor in a container that doesn't even touch the barber side. I want a patron to see that and go, oh, I don't want to go there. Or a barber that doesn't sweep up the floor in between clients. That's disgusting. So we do things the right way. Right now with the pandemic, you got these barber shops that aren't wearing masks, right? And they're just like, well, we're just going to do the patriotic thing and the government's not going to get us, so we're not going to wear a mask. Do I want to wear a mask? Do I wear a mask if I don't have to? No, I don't. But I have an obligation with seeing so many people, okay, like throughout the thing, that I have to protect people, okay? Like whether you believe the COVID's real or it's not real, it is real. I know multiple people that got it. I know people that died from it. Most of them were compromised. Yes, they had other underlying issues going on. But as a barbershop owner, it's our job to protect the community and to create a safe place. We have people who left us because other employees left and opened up a barbershop here or there, and now they're coming back to us because they're like, they remember what right was right. Now they're like, what they're doing is not what's normal. Modern Male set the standard. We have clients coming back from all over the place, hour away, miles away, and they're like, oh, I was going to this barbershop and they were just not taking the temperature, not putting the razor in the barber side, not disinfecting their station before. You're supposed to do that anyway. What's funny is COVID-19, they had all these new regulations for barbershops.
And they were all like the same
I
thing.
promise you, it's standard.
Yeah.
Like, you have to disinfect and sanitize before the next patron gets in your chair.
Well, it's because I work in the restaurant industry. So
Same
it's the
thing.
Same shit.
Did everybody let their guard down a little? Oh shit! Like now, like I'm like, yo, this is what we were supposed to be doing before the pandemic. So you're safe. Like we might have dropped 20% of certain things, but like, you know, you're not supposed to throw Sanic on the floor. Okay, like yeah, we would kind of do that and sweep it up. Now we throw it in the trash, right? Like that's standard stuff. But you have barbershops. Number one, they're shutting down left and right, and I don't wish any ill will on anybody, but
Because of lack of business or good
no,
business?
because they didn't do things the right way.
Because they're cutting in people's garages now.
Yeah, like they had unlicensed barbers. They had no insurance. They had no money in the bank. Like they had, you know, oh, we're cash. I go right now and get a lot of money from the bank, even throughout the pandemic, because I was doing things the right way, and it came with a great cost. You know, there was times when I wanted to call the accountant and say, look, I want everybody on 1099. I'm not paying taxes anymore. Like, I'm putting out FICA and Med and all that stuff. And in her, I'm like, hey, I could have a house or a nicer car. It was like, you had to do the right thing. There was times of frustration, but it's paid off now because we've continued to do the right thing. So, you know, it comes with a cost, but when you do the right thing and people remember that, and they come back. They might leave for a cheaper this or a little bit of this, but then they're like, oh, that contractor didn't do what you guys did. And they call you and say, hey, can you come out and fix and also rebuild this or do this new addition, because I did make a mistake and went somewhere else and it wasn't what you guys were, you know? So,
dude, I think we should leave it on that. Do the right thing.
Fuck.
people don't
Nicky
the
Barba.
I'm telling you, I got
Nicky
man
the
up, stay
Barba.
sharp tattooed on my shins. Okay, man up, stay sharp is do the right thing when nobody's looking. You know, I'll fire somebody if they piss on a toilet seat and don't wipe it up, because you're a dirtbag.
Yeah.
You're not doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is in the small things and doing it when no one's looking. And that's, society's become, we cut that corner. you know, and it's like doing the right thing isn't easy. It's tiring. It's not sexy. It's not fancy. It's hard work, grit, discipline. You know, am I motivated every day to do the right thing? No. But I go to bed at night knowing I did the right thing, and it feels good, you know, and money can't buy that, you know, so do the right thing.
Boom. Nicky The Barba. Dude, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's been I've been calling you guys for how long? I'm like, hey, can I get there? We'll make it, you know. So I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, every couple of weeks you'd hit us up and be like, "Oh, I gotta get it going."
I'm gonna come back.
Yeah,
you know what we should do next time is we should do a podcast from one of your places with
with
in the studio in the barber place. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Be fun,
dude, for sure.
You guys should come do it when we do grow a pair.
I'll come out.
Yeah,
whatever you need, man.
It'll be fun to
dude, and let us know what I gotta do to get some.
Dude, I'm serious about.
We're gonna talk about that off the air.
These fucking chairs suck.
I already got a contract. I'm gonna email it to you right now.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. So, dude, you got John Gilmar, myself, Nicky The Barba, his Instagram. You give your Instagram out one more time.
Both of them. Modern Male Barbershop. I don't even post on there anymore. In Modern Male Barber Academy. You know, we got modernmalebarbershop.com, Modern Male app. You can book it with any one of our you know, licensed professionals. You know, on the website or the app. So,
dude, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for the glasses.
Yeah, man, enjoy them, please. You know, appreciate you guys.